Howdy folks, I'm Wise Wood Sage, softly swaying beside silent silver streams.
I'm Amber.
And here are more silver streams for us to sway beside, so let's do that and harvest all the silver and become wealthy. So let's get started on that. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Being Upset About a Door? My wife and I decided it was time to buy a new exterior door for our house. She didn't like how the old ones looked, and I didn't like that they let a lot of cold air in through the gaps around the doors. I paid $2,500 buying two pre-hung doors from Home Depot, and was all set to pay a guy who installs doors and windows $700 to install two doors, along with the flashing and the trim for later this week. Well, yesterday my wife calls me while I'm at work out of town and asks if her brother, who has no trade experience, can just do the doors for us by hanging the new door slabs on the exterior door frames. I told her no, as even if the hinges lined up the deadbolt, and the latch likely won't, and I want the door to seal properly. I came home from working away to find out that they went ahead and installed one of the doors anyways, and of course it didn't line up with the existing frame. Her brother chiseled out a chunk in the door frame and has the strike plate for the deadbolt lightly screwed in. The door had a massive gap at the bottom, so he took a piece of 25-year-old trim from our old door and screwed it into the new one. I told my wife that I was disappointed that she went ahead and did this behind my back, when I told her that this is exactly what would happen. Now we are stuck with this new door and a bad fitting trim screwed onto the bottom of it. The same air leakage issue that I wanted to fix by buying a new door. A chiseled out and cracked frame with a deadbolt that barely holds. And to top it all off, her brother accidentally broke the cable on the smart deadbolt that I had just bought for the door. So that needs to be replaced now as well, another $200. My wife won't talk to me now because I said that I was disappointed and still wanted the installer to come by and properly install the other door at least. She said that she was trying to save us money. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, definitely not the jerk here. I mean, she asked you, you said no, and she went ahead and did it anyway.
Yeah, what was the point of even asking at that point, right?
Like, it sounds like the two of them had agreed that they were going to have a door installer do it, and then the wife decided, oh, well, we'll just have my brother do it instead. And then is all shocked Pikachu when it goes terribly wrong. When you're in a relationship, you have to communicate. And the wife here, asked, OP says no. She didn't push or anything. Not that you should push, but, didn't have any back and forth. Just went ahead and did it anyway. And that's not a good way to be in a relationship.
No, I feel bad for OP here because I feel like they were trying to do it the proper way. And they really wanted this to work out and to seal the door properly. And I understand the wife's desire to save money, but in the end, she didn't save them any money, right? In fact, they've now are going to have to spend even more money to get everything fixed properly, right? So I think that if anyone, maybe the brother needs to pay up and pay for some of the damages, because if he said that he was capable of doing this job, went ahead and did it anyways, even though he wasn't capable of doing it, then he needs to pay for the destruction of the property that he, committed.
Yeah.
So I don't know that that's actually going to happen, because I don't think that OP is going to be able to convince their wife that that's the right move. But, the brother really does owe OP and their wife money because of their mistake here. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Not Canceling a Vacation Because My Friend Changed Their Mind Last Minute? Edit add new info. I called the rental and no refund is available for cancellations. A few months ago, I was offered a great deal on a condo in Florida. The total cost split 3 ways is under $500 per person for the week. The condo has 3 bedrooms and is across the street from the beach. I asked 2 friends if they wanted to go. Both immediately said yes. I double-checked before booking, and they were both excited to go. So I booked the condo, and we all paid our share. My friends started a vacation countdown timer and seemed truly excited about the trip. Lately, they have been expressing an interest in reducing the cost of the trip, flying versus driving. I priced out the cheapest options possible. Both of my friends are retired, and one has limited funds. Now the trip is only 3 weeks away, and both friends have canceled due to personal reasons. I understand that life happens, and although I am upset that they can't go, I understand the reason for canceling. Here is the rub. They are both asking me to cancel the entire trip so they can get their money back. The issue is that I still want to go. I have been looking forward to this vacation, and I've already planned around it. I don't feel like I should have to cancel because they can no longer attend. I am not retired, and this is a vacation away from work for me. I've been trying to help. I've been reaching out to other friends to see if anyone wants to take their spots. If I can find replacement travelers, the canceled friends would get some money, if not all of it back. So far, I haven't had any luck, but I am making an effort because I don't want them to lose all the money if it can be avoided. Here is my dilemma. They agree to the trip, and their inability to go isn't something that I caused. On the other hand, I do feel bad that they'll lose their money if I don't cancel. They are my friends, and I don't want this to end a friendship. I can't afford to pay for the entire trip alone. Will I be the jerk if I went on the trip anyways instead of canceling it so they can get refunds? No, I'm not sure if I can cancel it with a refund this close to the reservation dates. I plan to call today to find out. They all canceled last night. All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. I mean, at this point in time, we know that they couldn't get a refund anyway. But even if OP could, like, it's unfortunate that the friends are going to lose money, but they waited until last minute to cancel. If they had decided sooner, you know, like first, if there was like an emergency, like then I would understand last minute cancellations. And then the right thing to do would be to recruit them whatever money you can. But they just decided that this is not what they want to do at this point in time. They have other things they want to budget their money for, and they want the money back. And that, I think, is not a fair position to put OP in.
Yeah, I mean, I would feel differently if OP could get money back on this, and I would understand them being like, hey, well, you can cancel and get a refund. Then canceling and getting a refund would be a good idea. I think this is why you should always buy trip insurance. You know, trip insurance can go a long way towards helping you recoup the lost cost if you end up having to cancel for one reason or another. And I understand OP's desire to actually get away and go on vacation, even if it isn't with their friends. I think that if OP was able to recoup the cost, that would be a nice thing for them to give the money back to their friends. But as it stands, since they can't even cancel, it's not even like there's anything that OP can do about it, right? Like if OP cancels, they're not getting their money back. So they'll cancel and OP will be without a trip and they'll all be out, $500. So there isn't really anything that anyone can do in this situation. The most that they can do is say, well, have a fun trip, OP, or they can try to figure out a way of making it on the vacation. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Telling My Guest It's Better That They Don't Come to the Wedding After They Complained About Our Wedding Too Much? We are getting married in less than 2 months. Our RSVP deadline was a month ago, and everyone responded to our RSVP but one couple. We really had to hound them to get any kind of answer out of them. Yesterday, they sent us a message telling us that they are free to come, but alongside the reply, they sent us a long message about how cumbersome and expensive it is to attend the wedding and how tiring the weekend for them will be and how they probably will retreat to their hotel room for most of the day and stay for the ceremony and part of the dinner, but retreat to the room for the rest of the festivities. We are taken aback because we are paying for everything: food, drinks, parking, and also paying for everyone's accommodations. A very nice lakeside hotel. Their biggest expense would be to pay for the gas for the 4-hour drive to the wedding and back. They have a car. They also complained about the dress code. We have a black tie affair, but they both own clothes that would fit the dress code, so they wouldn't have to buy new ones anyways. But they complained about that as well. Well, we read the message and basically told them that if coming would be so tiresome to them, it's better if they don't come. We said that we aren't mad at all. If someone can't make it or doesn't feel up to it, there are no hard feelings. But basically, we uninvited them. I know it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things budget-wise, but each guest costs around $600. And I didn't feel like spending $1,200 on people that don't even want to be there. Now they're angry at us and refuse to speak to us, and we are thinking that maybe we were a bit harsh. Were we the jerks here? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, I don't think OP is in the wrong. I mean, if the people are just going to complain and complain about how much of a hardship it is to go to the wedding, then they don't need to be there.
I think that OP relieved them of the hardship that they were complaining that they had, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, we can't come to the wedding because it's too hard on us. You know, I understand that maybe things would be hard on them, but OP gave them a perfect out. OP said, look, you don't have to come. I understand this is going to be hard on you. And now they're upset at OP for giving them that out. Like, it just seems like at this point in time, they wanted a free vacation and not to spend it around OP, which doesn't really give me warm fuzzies. It makes me feel like they view OP more as a person who will, give them money or assets or resources and not as a friend. So I don't blame OP at all. I would be very frustrated by the situation as well. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Today I Messed Up by Knowing Too Much About the X-Men. Obligatory disclaimer. This happened when I was a kid, around 11, so this is a little over a decade ago. I just feel so bad about this incident, and it still haunts me. As a kid, I had a phase where I would obsessively get into certain shows or a certain run of comics, which made buying gifts for me very easy and talking to me very difficult. Sorry, Mom and Dad. My mom sometimes had evening work in the downtown area of a fairly small city that we lived in. Large for our state, small compared to other cities. There was a coffee/wine shop near her job that was open until 8 or so I would sometimes hang out there and do all of my homework while she wrapped up. I was very well behaved, and she was friends with someone on the staff, so they were cool with it. Well, one night, I'd finished all of my homework, and I didn't have a book or a comic with me, so I was bored. I saw a very cool-looking man sitting beside me at the bar. By that, I mean he looked cool by 11-year-old standards, which is to say that he had shaggy hair, glasses, and a tweed jacket. I could see his laptop from where I was sitting, and I saw that he was clearly writing fiction. I asked, "Are you writing a book?" That's cool, because I was a child with very little social awareness. He found this charming, though, because he immediately said, "Thanks, yeah, I am, haha," with a big smile. I realized this guy was British at this point, which was enchanting to me as someone from, you can probably guess this, the southern states with very few immigrants. At least not ones from anywhere further than Texas. I asked him what it was about as I sipped my very adult mocha, hot chocolate with half of a shot of espresso. He said it's a book about a school for children with superpowers. It's for young adults, actually. You might like it. I immediately became excited and I said, "Oh, like X-Men." He chuckled a little and said, "No, I've heard of X-Men, but this is different." I asked him if it was like Sky High or Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, and he also said no to those. I asked him what his book was like, and he told me. It's kind of darker setting, but it's basically about a world in which some people have developed powers as part of a genetic mutation or evolution. Other people are afraid of their powers, so the kids have to hide who they are from these people who don't understand them. Some people are even trying to hurt them because they hate supers. Being a beacon of social graces, I immediately replied, "Oh yeah, X-Men has mutants like that." This guy thought that I wasn't understanding him, so he continued with, "Well, in my book, having powers can be really hard on its own. Some of them can't control their powers, or their powers make them look scary. One of the main characters has powers that make him super strong, but his whole body looks like stone. Like a statue." I replied, "Oh yeah, like Colossus from the X-Men, but stone instead of metal." This poor dude just kept listing ways in which he thought that his concept was different from X-Men. And being 11 years old and an idiot, I thought that this was an invitation to share my encyclopedic knowledge of every X-Men character with this man. I thought that the last straw happened when he said, "I'm kind of trying to represent how hatred works in the real world with these characters and with powers, how they're judged unfairly based on something that they didn't choose." I think that it's a really important message. I said I totally got it. And I added, "Oh yeah, that's the whole reason Professor X and Magneto can't be friends anymore in the comics, because they have different ideas about how to help mutants." This guy finally says, "Okay, it was nice talking to you," in a deflated voice. I realized that I had said something wrong, but I was confused as I saw nothing wrong with taking a concept basically wholesale to use in your fiction. Again, I was 11. I said goodbye, and I got another mocha before packing up to leave, because my mom was due to pick me up in like 5 minutes. My mom and I left about 10 minutes later, and I turned to wave goodbye to her friend. From behind, I saw a man Googling something, and then a bunch of pictures of Nightcrawler came up on his screen. And he rubbed his forehead with both hands. Random novelist man, if you're out there, I'm sorry. All right, folks, what do you think?
I mean, I think that OP didn't do anything wrong. I mean, yeah, it lacks some social awareness, but it's important to understand what there is out there that's similar to your work. I mean, there is no new idea under the sun, as the saying goes. You know, everyone's story is playing off of ideas that have already come before. And it's all about how you put your own unique spin on it. But if you have absolutely no knowledge of like some of the biggest like works in your genre, then that can be an issue. You know, like X-Men, I feel like if you're writing superheroes and you're not familiar with the X-Men, you don't need to know like everything there is to know about X-Men like OP, but you should probably have a general idea of some of the big superheroes out there so you know what's already been done.
Yeah, I mean, I do think like he should have probably investigated a little bit more to understand because like it was clear he didn't have any understanding about how his, work differed than like a pretty big source material. Now, I could understand it if you were working in a niche where maybe there's a lot of material and you just can't like keep track of it all. But there again, like there's nothing wrong with writing a book, and if it does have a lot of similarities or parallels to other material, then I mean that's that, right? I mean like that can happen, and I mean it's bound to happen. But the important thing is that he isn't copying X-Men wholesale, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if he had a character named Wolverine with claws who was going around, doing different things, then that would be like, oh yeah, you've clearly copied X-Men here, right? But there can always be new takes on the kind of concepts that he's describing here, right? I mean, what superhero comic book doesn't have some of those themes, right?
Well, that's the thing is some of those ideas are very universal in stories, and so it doesn't necessarily mean that he's doing anything wrong. You know, his story is of course going to be his own unique take on it, but he could do it more justice if he had a better understanding. It also helps to market your book if you know what it's like and what it isn't like. You know, one of the big things that you have to do as an author is you have to come up with comparable titles. So you can figure out who is the audience who is going to most like your book. Well, if you like X-Men, maybe you'll like this book type of deal.
So I think that OP didn't do anything wrong here, and I think they were just being enthusiastic and wanting to talk about things. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
Why did the grape buy guitars for its friends?
Because they wanted the Grapes of Wrath to start the band Grapes of Wrath, and that was going to be their heavy metal rock band name.
It wanted to jam.
Oh, I guess so. And I have a special guest tea, some matcha today. And folks, today is a very special day. It's Superhero Day, so go out and discover your superhero powers and fight discrimination with them. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy spectacular Saturday, folks. I hope your Saturday is off to a spectacular start. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on wedding freeloaders.
If you don't want to go to a wedding, you can just decline.
Yeah. But thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.